Hi everyone, my name's Rix. Thank you for introducing me and thank you for letting me be here, and thank you Vax Control Group for having had the brilliant idea that you had, and thank you for getting us all to be in the control group in this horrendous experiment that has been done. I'm getting a chance to do my favourite thing because I offered my services, which is to talk about homeopathy and talk about why it's great to have in your toolkit for being healthy and for managing wintry flus and respiratory viruses, and we don't mind what they're called. You can call it Mr. COV if you want, but just allow illnesses to happen every winter and allow our bodies a little chance to detox and have colds and coughs. And I want to put it just quickly, and I hope not too complicatedly, in a perspective with what homeopathy actually is. I've used homeopathy for half my life, and raised 3 children on it, and proud to say they didn't have any antibiotics and they didn't have any of the devil's brew, Calpol, and actually they didn't have any vaccines, but we can only say that in certain company, but I'm sure this company is going to accept that information. But what I would love to introduce you to is the ideas within homeopathy about how acute illness is actually one of the most important things that happens to us. We get little coughs and colds, or we get bad respiratory viruses when our body has become susceptible. So homeopathy is all about susceptibility, and it's all about the respect that is due to taking care of little acute illnesses properly, and not suppressing them. So some of the big concepts in homeopathy are susceptibility, suppression, and the need to allow the body to be ill, but to support it gently from underneath, in order for it to develop the illness and resolve it. When I talk about the immune system, I'm not a great expert in it, but I do know that we have the innate immune system, and we have the adaptive immune system. And these two are worth thinking about, because the innate immune system we're born with, and if the drug companies could, they'd try and destroy that, which, our bodies know how to staunch blood, and our bodies know how to grow skin back together, and our bodies have skin and hair, and they have mucosa, and all these which are part of our defense mechanisms, if you like. So the immune system that is innate is the one we're born with, and it's the things that we all do without really thinking about it. Make mucus, make fever, heal when we scratch, etc. But the adaptive immune system has to come and has to be learned, and that's what our body does when it's having contact with a bacteria or a virus it's not met before. It's making this incredible choreography, if you like, between the innate and the B and T cells, which are part of the adaptive immune system. I don't want to get complicated, let's stay simple. But these two systems are then working together to actually learn what that bacteria or that virus was, and teach the body how to manage next time. If it meets it, knows what to do. And because we both we all have these two immune systems. It's important that we use a medical practice that embraces them, if you like, that allows them to flourish. And certainly homeopathy does that. And what we're finding out, of course, is the importance in the microbiome, which is the real emerging science, thank God, of understanding the utter importance of this incredible set of bacteria, microbial life that we have in our gut and in our mucosa. And to destroy that for any reason is a destructive and a self-destructive action. So if you use a form of medicine that actually destroys your gut flora, you need to really think about maybe that's not the best kind of medicine to use on the front line of your care. Maybe keep it right in the back room, right in the far corner of the back room, at the last resort, once you've done all your good things about how to be ill. But one of the most important ways to build your immune system is to let yourself have normal, healthy, little acute illnesses and welcome them and love them. Love your colds, love your coughs, and love your sneezes. Well, not if they're all the time and they're annoying your friends, but to have a cold or a cough twice a year, once or twice a year is brilliant. It's like if you would never do your washing. Imagine if you never ever did your washing, you just piled up your washing in the corner, your dirty laundry, and you just carry on making a bigger and bigger one and buying more and more clothes. And that's a bit like never letting yourself have a proper illness and a cold and a cough. That is when we literally do our washing, we cleanse, you blow your nose and whoo, it's coming out, all that laundry. So having respect for the body's wonderful systems that it has in place that we've evolved over eons is number one. And homeopathy certainly respects that, because our teacher and the man who invented it, Samuel Hahnemann, was a doctor in Germany in the late 1700s, early 1800s, and was so disgusted by what the medics were doing by using very heavy chemical toxic substances and a lot of purging and leaching and bleeding, which weakened the patient so much that only the heroes survived. That was why it was called heroic medicine. But Hahnemann hated it and worked out his wonderful homeopathic way of diluting and shaking substances, which releases an essence, a vibrational a vibration really that the body can recognize. It's a substance. If you're loving the science of it, which is great, if people do, there is the Homeopathic Research Institute, which I'll point you to at the end when I send the notes. I'm not going to go into that further now, but we do need to talk about, so we've got the innate and the adaptive immune system, and we've got the inflammatory response, which is the fever, the dolor, which is the pain, the redness and the swelling that you get in any acute illness. So when you have a child or an adult having a normal, healthy, inflammatory illness, please don't try and lower the fever. Please don't give them Calpol, or as the government urged us in COVID, stay at home, lock yourself away, get really frightened and take paracetamol every 4 hours. I mean, that's the craziest thing. The only thing we needed to know was that we needed access to fresh fruit and vegetables, vitamin D, vitamin A and zinc, and we needed remedies, of course, but we weren't going to get the government to tell us that. And we needed fresh water, and we needed to rest and not be frightened. That's another story, isn't it, everyone? And we've been through it, but we're not going to do it again because we're going to be educated, educate our friends and family. So fever. Fever, phobia against fever somehow came in probably about when the antipyretic industry, which is the part of the drug companies that sell all the medicines that lower fevers, were coming online. To lower a fever is the craziest thing. It doesn't even make sense with their science. So I really don't get what happened there, except somebody was going to make a lot of money. So to lower a fever because you feel bad with a fever. Well, you're supposed to feel bad with a fever so that you go to bloody bed and lie down and rest and drink water. You're supposed to feel hot with a fever so that you hydrate yourself. You're supposed to feel swelling and redness and throbbing with a fever because that will stop you from running around and carrying on with your life. Because when we're ill, we're just being asked to stop, give yourself some. And it's exactly the same with children. They start going to nursery or they have to leave mum for the first time and they go to a childminder or the nanny comes, and all the changes, children get ill. They have to, because the emotional shock is too difficult. Children can't deal with emotional shocks. I mean, most adults can't deal with them either, but that's another story. But a child can't deal mentally, intellectually with an emotional shock. They have to just express it through their body. And that's why they get ill. It's brilliant. It means they go back to being a baby again. They get cuddled up, they get mummy around or daddy around, and they get plenty of time to just be under the duvet and no screens, not all day, thank you. But, there's going to be a few screens, obviously, nowadays. But it's time out, and they're just given nice fruit, nice vegetables, nothing heavy to eat, and plenty of remedies and plenty of fluids, plenty of water. So let's go through an acute inflammatory respiratory illness and see the stages and what homeopathic remedies we might use. So when the child or the adult suddenly starts sneezing and you think, oh God, they just got cold, they just caught a cold. Oh dear, it's always usually in the middle of the night. The first remedy to look at homeopathically is aconite, Aconitum napellus, which is monkshood, which is a poisonous plant, but in homeopathic potency, it is being diluted and shaken into the most wonderful remedy for the first stages of cold. It's also a fright and terror remedy. It's also a remedy for night terrors. But anyway, we're talking about this respiratory illness that's going to go from sudden sneezing, shivers, maybe a dry cough, maybe a sore throat, and then we'll see where it goes. So you give the aconite 3 times over a night, say, and then in the morning see how they are. If they seem to be better, then just watch them for a bit. They might need to get a fever, we don't know. If they're going to go into the next stage of this inflammatory process, this is the adult I'm talking about as well, about 3 o'clock that afternoon is a typical time for the fever to really kick in. It sounds random, 3 o'clock, but homeopathic remedies often have time frames when they work best or they express themselves. So a 3 o'clock in the afternoon fever, but a fever anyway, that when the child or the adult suddenly feels throbbing head, doesn't want to be in the bright light, feels really sorry for themselves, just wants to be left alone, grumpy, leave me alone. The adult just wants to shut the door on the world. With any luck, they manage to stop work for a day or two. That would be brilliant. For the adult, just go to bed. Take a big jug of water and go to bed. Take a belladonna, which is the next remedy that we're talking about. Belladonna is deadly nightshade. It's the remedy made from the poisonous plant belladonna, deadly nightshade. And of course, there's no poison left in it when you give it in a homeopathic potency, but it works on that whole way that belladonna used to affect people: staring eyes, glowing cheeks, throbbing head, throbbing carotid arteries. Belladonna has got a lot of anger and irritability in its mental picture, because don't forget, our homeopathic remedies have mental, emotional, and physical expressions. But we're talking about typical respiratory flu-like illness, remember. So we go to bed, the child goes to bed with a belladonna, it woke up a couple of hours later, it'll be very hot. We don't want to lower the fever, we want to spread the fever. You don't have to worry about fevers, you just have to allow the body to be kept a little bit cool. Obviously, keep a window open, keep some cool flannels, give them plenty of water, keep them safe, keep them close. If it's a breastfed baby, keep it close to you, let it suckle as much as it wants. If it's an adult or a teenager, just close the door and let them drink water. Once the fever has resolved, usually by the morning, you might have had 3 doses of belladonna through the night, that's fine. By the morning, the fever is usually down. They're usually a bit peely-wally, so I never let my children go to school after they'd have a fever, so they were well pleased. But and then often the fever will come up a bit the next afternoon and the next evening if there is something that the fever needs to finish off. So don't forget, a fever is there to destabilize or neutralize an infection or a virus. It's why we heat up. We heat up to kill viruses and bacteria. So, the whole idea of lowering fevers is doo-doo, in my view, but it makes a lot of money. There's a lot of money in them there pills, as we say. But homeopathically, the fever will be spread through the body until the child needs the fever no longer, then it will be resolved. The mechanism for that on the adrenal glands is absolutely brilliant. If you ever want to look up in a physiology book, it's amazing. So supporting children with fevers, supporting adults with fevers, keep them quiet, don't stress them, don't keep trying to take their fever. They're going to be hot, get it? Yeah, oh yeah, you're hot, that's fine. Once the fever has done its job, you will resolve and you will sweat. There'll usually be a little sweaty head or a neck from the child, or the adult will feel a sweat. Once you've done your sweat, you're into your next stage of your acute inflammatory illness. And that's when, of course, you're going to start letting go all those white blood cells that were part of the swelling. Those are going to come out as snot. They're going to come out as gunk from your eyes, your nose, your bad breath. They're going to come out from as many orifices as you can. I should make a note here, homeopaths love discharge from any part of the body because that's how the body cleans itself. And once the body has managed to chuck stuff to the surface, like even stuff through the bottom, if you have a diarrhea or if you have a very strong period, that's all clearing, that's cleansing, that's the body doing its fantastic, brilliant, ancient work. And the whole of Western medicine is basically built on stuffing up every single orifice that we have when it discharges something. So no wonder we're all crackers. So you've got to the next stage of the inflammatory illness, and that's where you're going to be dealing with the actual snot. So you use the remedies that are about heavy duty mucus production. And the number one remedy that I'll teach you is pulsatilla. Pulsatilla is a wind flower. It's a beautiful plant in homeopathic potency for children that are whingy and clingy and full of snot, or adults that are coughing all night as soon as they lie down and they're perfectly fine when they sit up, or adults that are mouth breathing because their nose is all blocked up when they lie down, but actually clears when they sit up. There are all these wonderful little different nuances of homeopathy. Every remedy has a different picture, which is why it's an art and a science in one, and is a beautiful job. If any of you want a new job, go and get trained as a homeopath. So in that stage of the inflammatory illness, you've got to just stay in bed and be sorry for yourself, because that's the time when your body's trying to discharge all this gunk. That's taking out all the waste products, and it's going to do it. And if you want to help it with the pulsatilla, that's great. You might, as an adult, have turned into a bit of a flu. That's fine. Flu is not very usual in children. They told a load of people a load of porcupines about 10 years ago, where they frightened a load of parents and said, your child can have a flu jab or a flu snot thing up their nose. But before that, I never heard of a child getting flu. Children get illness, they get winter illnesses, but a flu is a big thing that an adult gets, that you're aching, your joints, your muscles, everything is going, your head is full, it's got a block in it. And that's when you need the remedy gelsemium. And that is when there's the aching in the joints and the muscles. Children maybe will need a gelsemium sometimes, but only if it fits that picture. One more remedy that they will sometimes need is the remedy Merc-Sol. It's mercury solubilis, and that's because mercury is in all the a lot, not all. A lot of the childhood vaccinations contain mercury salts, which is called thimerosal. It was taken out of one of the jabs, the MMR, because it did get very bad press. I'm not sure what it's in at the moment. I'm sorry, I'll try and research that for you. But if you do want to know more, there is The Informed Parent, which is an amazing organisation. But not Informed Parent. It's called TIP, The Informed Parent. I'll put that in the notes as well. The right. And then we have Merc-Sol, because that's when the throat and the tonsils are completely infected or inflamed, and you have that dual thing going on with earache or tonsil ache, or even mercury. You might get mouth ulcers and things like that. Mercury solubilis alternating with belladonna usually helps the body clear the effects of tonsillitis and inflammation of the tonsils. That's enough for now, because I've introduced you to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 homeopathic remedies. We've gone through the little arch of when you come out of the pulsatilla stage, you should be feeling a bit peely-wally, a bit weak. A child will often, it's a good time to take them to the homeopath then, because that's when they often need a constitutional remedy, a remedy that really suits their whole picture. But that's how homeopathy sees it. But for an adult, once you've had that lovely little discharge from your nose and your ears and your gunk, and you're feeling a little bit better, just don't go straight out and go down the old bull and bush. Just take it easy for a few days. Keep off the coffee and the tea for a bit. Just do some herbs. Eat light. Enjoy the fact you've lost a little bit of weight. Hey, enjoy the fact that you detoxed a bit. There is nothing more positive than the healing power of illness. And of course, we have a whole billion-dollar drug industry, which is trying to make us think otherwise. But our bodies don't want us to die. They want us to live. They want us to stay in balance. They want us to be in a state of ease, not dis-ease. So when our bodies produce symptoms such as an inflammatory illness, a little cough or a cold or a virus or a bacteria or whatever it is that means that we feel ill, please say thank you to your body and go to bed with your homeopathic kit and your little booklet, or your homeopath online that you can text, like my patients do. I've got a cold, and the homeopath will tell you which remedies to take from your kit, and you will just enjoy it, because you will see yourself and your wonderful immune system doing what it's evolved to do, to make you stronger, live longer, be happier, be healthier, be mentally more alert. Anyway, that's quite enough from me, otherwise your mental alertness will go boom. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll look forward to talking to you at the Q&A. Bye-bye.